Happy Halloween everybody! In this week's video, we're gonna talk about the most terrifying things of all time. Preschool show villains. Well, okay, they're not that scary, but as kids, they're terrifying. Preschool show villains, and villains in general, serve one simple purpose: to be an obstacle for the main characters. What makes preschool show villains so fun is that, because of how safe these shows are, their schemes are so silly and childish that you just can't take them seriously. And more often than not, they end up being more entertaining than the main characters. So in this, sort of, Halloween video, we're gonna go over some of these villains. The good, the bad, and the pure evil. We're not gonna go in any specific order. We're just gonna have some fun with some classic villains. So, without further ado, let the villain video commence. First up on our list is Swiper from Dora the Explorer. I mentioned this in another video, but as a kid, Swiper used to terrify me. I remember getting so tensed up when he tried to swipe from Dora and Boots. If they managed to stop him, I'd be cool. But if Swiper succeeded, I'd have a full meltdown. But now that I'm older, I can see that Swiper isn't threatening in the slightest. As long as your name isn't Dora and you don't hang out with a monkey, you're good. Seriously though, what's with Swiper's beef with Dora anyway? Why does he always want to swipe from her? It's not like he even wants the items he takes. He just throws them away for them to find. Does he do it just to annoy them, or does he have some other motive? Well, according to the creators of Dora, Swiper doesn't really have a reason to swipe things at all. They avoided giving him a backstory to, and I quote, to make the show more clean. So, basically the writers are admitting that they made him one-dimensional on purpose. I honestly don't know how to respond to that. Overall, Swiper is an okay character. He's not really that complex or interesting, but for what he is, he works well for what the show needs. Next up, we have Acrobrat from Kia and the Kimoha Heroes. This show is genuinely amazing, and I'll take any excuse to talk about it. But by far my favorite character is Acrobrat. First off, his name. His name is perfect, because that's literally what he is. He's an acrobatic spoiled brat. His real identity is a normal kid named Zane who's actually friends with the heroes. But when something doesn't go his way, he turns into the villain Acrobrat to terrorize Kimoha City. What makes Acrobrat so fascinating is that unlike most preschool villains, he's actually interesting to think about. As Zane, he actually hangs out with the heroes and seems to enjoy their company. Which leads to the question, does he secretly like the Kimoha heroes? How does he feel about fighting them all the time? How would the heroes react if they find out that one of their friends is secretly one of their enemies? Things like that make Acrobrat a really compelling villain, and I'd love to see more of him in the future. Oh, and speaking of which, please, Disney, please renew this show for a second season. I'm begging you, we need to see more of Acrobrat. Next up on the list is Crusher from Blaze and the Monster Machines. I really don't like this show. At all. It somehow manages to be boring, and interesting, yet painfully stupid at the same time. And I'm just relieved that it finally got cancelled. But today, we're gonna focus on the villain of the show, Crusher. Like Swiper, Crusher has a very basic gimmick. He cheats in races. He has this toolbox-looking thing that allows him to build incredible inventions to help him achieve his goals. But with the power of math, Blaze always manages to stop him in his tracks. Sounds fine, right? No. There's this weird hypocrisy with the show's no cheating message. Whenever Crusher cheats, it's portrayed as a bad thing. But Blaze uses a special power called blazing speed, which allows him to go extremely fast. And yeah, that can also be considered cheating. And yet, it's portrayed as a good thing. To put it simply, when Crusher cheats, it's a bad thing, but when Blaze cheats, it's okay. Now do you see why I hate this show so much? And look, I get it. Blaze is the good guy, and Crusher is the bad guy. But how is that a good excuse? Cheating is cheating, regardless of who's doing it. It really makes Blaze out to be a very unlikable protagonist. Sure, he's kind and friendly, but when you look beyond that, he's a massive hypocrite. And because of this, I always end up rooting for Crusher. Even if I know for a fact that he's gonna lose in the end. Seriously though, how did this show last for 9 seasons? It started in 2014, and it's just now ending this year. I guess children are really into hypocritical cars. Next up on our list is, pretty much every single Bubble Guppy's villain. That's right, I'm putting them all in this spot, because they're all pretty much the same. These villains usually appear during the recess segments, where the Guppies make up stories with the power of their imagination. Most of these segments follow the same formula. The Guppies have a job or mission, they run into some kind of monster, they try to finish their goal, the monster keeps getting in the way, and by the end, it turns out the monster just wanted to be their friend all along. Then everyone hugs, and lives happily ever after. I'm not counting these specific characters, because they're not really evil, just misunderstood. But occasionally, especially in the last 2 seasons, the show would have actual bad guys who do evil things. I'm not gonna talk about all of them, cause again, they're all the same, but one villain I'm gonna focus on is the Night Wizard, from the Season 3 special, The Puppy in the Ring. And if you keep up with my community posts, you should know exactly how I feel about this guy. This episode is a parody of Lord of the Rings, a movie that I've never seen before, so any references they make, I'm not gonna understand. In this special, the Night Wizard wants to steal the king's magical sun ring so he can make it nighttime forever. But luckily, Molly and Gil manage to defeat him. Take a wild guess what the Night Wizard does afterwards. Does he try to take revenge? Nope. He cries. Yep, he just sits there and cries like a freaking baby.
Now, stop crying, Night Wizard.
What else am I supposed to do? You ruined my wonderful plans, didn't you? And now it's daytime and everyone's going to have fun in the sun together.
Are they seriously trying to make us feel bad for the Night Wizard? The guy who tried to stop the sun from rising, which would lead to many devastating catastrophes. This is the guy who we're meant to feel sympathy for. Are you serious? Look. The episode as a whole is fine, but this scene is just poorly written on so many levels. For starters, no one even scolds the Night Wizard for what he tried to do. They're just like, it's okay Night Wizard, it'll be nighttime soon. Like, do y'all have short-term memory loss? Do you not remember what he did? Secondly, Night Wizard doesn't even apologize for what he did. In fact, no one even acknowledges his villainous actions. They just automatically forgive him all because he's sad. It's so infuriating. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is where he says this.
I don't have any friends.
Oh boohoo Night Wizard. It's no wonder you don't have any friends. You're an evil psychopath who needs to be punished. You're lucky you're surrounded by a bunch of pacifist idiots. Otherwise, you'd be locked up in a dirty dungeon for all of eternity. I do like that Gil is the only one who doesn't instantly forgive him. But then, Molly gives him a look, and he's like, fine, I'll be your friend. It's like he knows how poorly written this scene is, but he's forced to go along with it because the writers say so. Now look, I know what you're gonna say. Dude, why does it matter? The Night Wizard is just a one-time villain. After the episode, we never see him again. That's true, but here's the problem. Every single villain in the show is like that. They do bad things, the Guppies stop them, and then they bawl their eyes out, and suddenly, all is forgiven. Not only is this formula so repetitive, but it also sends a pretty bad message. You're basically teaching kids that when they do bad things, all they have to do is cry, and everyone will automatically forgive them. That's not how life works. Kids are very impressionable, so when they see stuff like this, and think that bad actions can be solved by crying, what do you think is going to happen when they have to face the real world? And do you know what the worst part is? Bubble Guppies isn't even the only show that does this cliché. Teen Umizoomi does it, Blaze does it, Super Kitties does it in every episode, and it's just so infuriating. Look, I get it. You wanna teach kids about forgiveness, and not everyone's as bad as they seem, but there needs to be more weight to it. You can't just have a villain burst into tears, and have the heroes just forgive them on the spot. Next on the list is Black Cat from Spidey and His Amazing Friends. You know, as much as I like to trash on this show, admittedly, it does have some positives. And one of those positives is the girl, the myth, the legend, Black Cat. She is truly a unique character. While the other characters are very one-dimensional, Black Cat actually has layers to her personality. She's a thief who likes to steal shiny objects, but she's not as malicious as the other villains. She's willing to apologize and make things right at the end. In one episode, After causing a disaster on the road, she saves a citizen from getting hit by a car. No one told her to do it, she just wanted to help. Although, the way she just goes back to being bad in every episode is kind of odd. Black Cat episodes usually go like this. Black Cat steals something, the Spidey team chases after her, she apologizes, they forgive her, only for her to go back to stealing in the next episode. So, either she's lying about being sorry to get herself out of trouble, or... No, that has to be it. There can't be any other explanation. Usually I hate it when characters learn the same lessons over and over again, but in Black Cat's case, it's pretty clear that she's manipulating them with her cuteness. Not to mention, Black Cat has some of the greatest moments in the whole show. Remember when she saved that citizen? Well, in the same episode, Spidey and Iron Man talk about how good she's been, and immediately after, she steals Iron Man's car, and drives away. That was probably one of, if not the only time I've laughed at this boring show. Characters like Black Cat prove that the writers are capable of writing good characters, yet they choose not to. Oh well, at least I have one reason to keep watching. The last villain we're gonna talk about is every villain from PJ Masks. Yep, I'm putting all the villains from a specific show once again. Not because they have interchangeable personalities, but I think it's weird how the show portrays them. The whole concept of PJ Masks is the three kids go out at night and fight villains, who are also kids. Sounds pretty cute, right? Well, it is, if you don't think too hard about it. But as a preschool show reviewer, it's my job to take these shows as seriously as possible. As much as it annoys some people. As I said, these villains are kids. Probably like 6 years old at most, and yet, they're portrayed as completely evil or redeemable monsters. And yeah, that can be a bit concerning. Now, in the first seasons, it's not a big deal. The villains would do stuff like steal toys, or make a huge mess, things that real kids would do. But as the show went on, their schemes just became nastier and nastier. And it's not even subtle about it either. They make it clear in every episode just how evil they truly are. Take Romeo for example. He wants to take over the world. Why? What 6-year-old would wanna do something like that? Don't get me wrong, it's entertaining, and it doesn't ruin the show, but it's just weird to think about. Villains or not, these are children. They have their whole lives ahead of them, and yet they're trying to destroy the PJ Masks, and take over the world. Someone needs to get these guys into therapy. Well, that's all the villains I'm gonna talk about today. Let me know in the comments what you think of these villains. And if I ever do a part 2, let me know which villain I should talk about next. And until next time, party on.